And it says, and Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. Well, here you know, when we all know what the new represents here, but the Bible says, you know, they use the word new. We can see how the tree of knowledge is already at work, because man is gaining that knowledge, that what we gain from that. And she has a son, and they named him Cain. But Eve did recognize that she bore a son, but she knew that the Lord was in it. That it just wasn't her and Adam, but it was through God that she bore this son. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And even Abel's name represents keeper. So here you have two brothers God's blessed them with, and they have two different professions. Probably what they desired or what they felt like they were good at, what God had blessed them. God blessed them with all talents. Some could do certain things while some others can't. Mm-hmm. But God blessed Cain as being a tiller and Abel as being a keeper of the sheep and goats. And in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. So the Lord accepted it. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. So here we have it. They brung their offerings to God. See, when they were cast out of Eden, God came to Adam, walked in the garden with Adam. Mm-hmm. Now here they are. You can see times have changed. Here they are building altars and giving an offering to God, mm-hmm. to have that worship, to have that communion with Him. Mm-hmm. When before they could have walked with Him. Now they're worshiping Him, giving their best. And we don't know what was wrong with Cain's offering. Mm-hmm. In Hebrews, it talks about in 9:22, and almost all things are by the law purged with the blood is no remission. And that's two things. The law seems to require that almost everything be purged with blood. There is no remission, forgiveness without the shedding of blood. But then you have in Leviticus, both grain and animal offerings are described as being accepted to God. Right. So we can't say that Cain didn't offer an animal, right, that didn't suffice God. So we can rule that out. So then you're thinking, well, what was wrong with Cain's offering? And you have Abel, his wasn't an animal, and Cain's was a vegetable. That ain't it. Abel's was the firstling. Cain's might not been the first fruit. Mm-hmm. Then you look at it. Abel's was the first was with blood, and Cain's was without. And we talked that that's probably not it. But both in Hebrews and Genesis demonstrate that it was not the offering that made one acceptable and the other not. God accepts both grain and animal offerings according to their purposes. So what was the difference between the two offerings? If both of them can be accepted, then what was it? It has to be the offerer. Mm-hmm. not the offering.
That's right.
Where was Cain's heart compared to Abel's heart? How do we come to church? How is our heart compared to maybe when we first got saved? Is our heart wholeheartedly in tune with God to come here and worship Him? Not maybe to get something for us, not to bear our burdens on Him, but to actually come and give yourself an offering to God in worship and praise. Because that's what we're here for. We can, on our own, ask for our needs to God. And I bet you more than likely, as soon as our need arises, we let God know about it. Real quick. But we like to, and I'm not saying don't bring your problems to church to ask the church to pray for you.
Right.
I'm not saying that, but do we have the mindset of coming here to worship God and giving Him our love offering, ourselves? Because that's what He wants. That's all what He's ever. That's why He created us, for us to give Him love, the way He gives it to us. So we look at Cain and see where his heart was. Abel gave his with faith. He knew that in his heart that I'm giving this because I love God. Cain might have been giving his because he felt like it might have been a chore. Here I got to go. I got to go give my offering. I got to make my fruit. You know how Kroger's and everybody else will put wax on those fruit and they'll polish them up and they'll make them look just as pretty as it can be. And I'm saying, I bet old Cain's sitting there making his vegetables as nice as could be, thinking, here, I got to do this again. How do we put in our mind, I got to go up and go to church. If I don't, they'll talk about me or think something's wrong. Is our heart into it? Abel's heart and his faith was there. So we have to look at Cain and his mentality of where he was. Because I like to take myself in their position. What made him that way? And it says, and the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? Now, God just sat here and said that his offering was not suffice. Then he asked him two questions. Why are you angry? Why is your countenance? Why do you look like that? I can imagine, I can remember Dad. Why you look like that for, boy? When you done wrong, and after he's whipped you, don't you give me that look, or, God's asking, so why you look that way? Why are you mad? He was looking at, he was giving Cain, he didn't judge Cain right then. So we see God as a long suffering here. We see him extend mercy to Cain. He could have cast judgment on him right now. I do not accept this, and this is your punishment. He didn't look at him, how dare you bring this to me? Or he didn't do that. He put the blame back on his lap. Why, son? Why you look like this? He wanted him to ask, like, well, Lord, he wanted him to say what his fault was to God. And that's what God does to us. He said, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? He's telling him right there, if you've done good, I would have accepted it. And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. Something's going on with you, son. Something's on your mind. Something's on your plate. Or there's something wrong with you that has your mind not right. There's some kind of sin that you're not sharing with me. He said, unto thee shall be this shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. He's telling him, you've got a choice here. God's given him a chance to do well. And he's telling him that sin is lying at your door. Sin is lying at every one of our doors, ready to pounce all over us. If we acknowledge it or accept it or flirt with it or give it a tiniest amount of leverage, sin will take you. And it says, and Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. Cain harvested that anger so much that he couldn't bear it, and he felt the only way, God didn't accept mine and accept him. Here, he could be here. Here's old goody good two shoe. Mommy's always liked him better. He's always got the favoritism. Probably years has built up on Cain instead of giving to God. God's probably saw, that's probably maybe that was the one thing that God saw in his heart was animosity toward his brother, because, it's been brewing for so long. And then you have Adam and Eve. Here they are having two sons, and then you have one son that kills the other. Can you imagine how they thought? Can you imagine when they think back to that tree of knowledge? When the serpent told them that if you eat it, you will surely die. You don't think that they didn't think how much that one sin, how far it's taken us? Even though God's blessed with his two sons, that now that sin, we have one to kill the other. Sin, you may fraternize or you may play with sin a little bit, but don't play with sin at all. Don't compromise sin. Don't try to do something and think, well, it's all right, or don't try to whitewash it. Because you do, that sin will come back, and it may not come back on you, but it'll come back on your kids, and it'll fester itself. No matter what, sin will lead to death. And it always will. You'll lose that relationship with God. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? We know and sometimes you sort of think like he was being a little sarcastic, because that was what Abel's name represented, was keeper. He said, am I my brother's keeper? And so he had a little play on words. And he says, what hast thou done? And God knew what he'd done. Again, he's trying to get Cain to confess. He's trying to get, even after all this, even after he's murdered his brother, what's God doing? He's still saying, come on, son, talk to me. What have you done? Confess it. And Cain, and the voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. Cain wouldn't confess. And I look at my life, and I'm sure you can look at your life of how many times God has asked us, what are you doing? What have you done? Why has your countenance changed? He's giving Cain so much right now. I'm sure we'll get into this. And now, he said, and now art thou cursed from the earth. So Cain didn't budge. God knew what he'd done. He said, okay, he said, you're cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. See, he spilt Abel's blood. He took it. It wasn't shed, it wasn't an offering. He spilled its blood recklessly. And now that blood is dropped on the earth. He said, when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be on earth. The one thing that Cain did, and I know he did it well, he was a tiller of the earth. He was a gardener. And God took that away from him. He said, you spilt that blood of your brothers on the earth, and that earth always gave back to you. Now I'm closing up her mouth, and she's not going to be able to give a bountiful crop to you. He'd already took them out of Eden, well, Adam and Eve out of Eden, and here you have, he had to, maybe the ground wasn't as good, or he had to go through the, if you garden, weeds come. You got to till the earth. You got to work. Now, no matter how much he works, he's not going to get a crop. And that's the one thing that he knew how to do. So in order to survive, he was going to have to change his whole way of living. Instead of off the field, he was going to have to hunt. He was going to have to eat meat. Because that's the only thing that he could. Because unless he bought it, but he wasn't going to till the earth. Then he outcasted him. Here his mom and dad were outcast out of Eden. Now he's outcast from his family. Won't be able to see mom and dad. Now he has to go forth by himself. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. And we don't know that if it's mentally he couldn't bear that or physically. And it says, behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And that was, to me, is the most harshest punishment. He said, I'll be hid from your face, God. You're casting me out. It's separation. Sin has not only killed his brother, but sin has separated him from God. He said, because now I'm hid from everybody else, and I'm hid from your face. He said, I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth, and it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. And the Lord said unto him, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And Cain went out of the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east end of Eden. Here God still showed him mercy. Cain said, so they're going to kill me. If anybody finds me, I'm the man that killed his brother. So God marked him. And the Bible does not tell how he marked him. But as far as the English language, we've had stories of the Scarlet Letter and things of that sort. The first thing that comes up to be, my opinion, would be an M on the side of his cheek for murder and for mercy. He murdered his son, but God tried to give him mercy. No matter what our sins may be, that's right. No matter what we have done, God will still extend his mercy on you.
That's right.
Nothing can separate you. Mm-hmm. And here, when he said, when he separated himself from Saul, Saul knew that hurt. That he wasn't going to have that communion with God. But throughout the whole time, God was extending his mercy.
Yeah.
And he's extending his mercy to you this morning.
You're right, Toby.
And that's my lesson today.
Bless you.